Hey friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden, and welcome to another sewing solo. So this one is going to be for the month of October. When I'm filming this, it is currently a little bit into November already, so apologies for this being so late, but sadly, if you're on my Discord, you probably know this already, or if you are part of my Patreon, you probably know this already as well. But at the beginning of this week, I think it was Monday, November 6th, I was starting to feel a little bit under the weather, and I woke up on Tuesday morning and I was very, very sick. So what I thought was the flu had hit me. I also woke up with this crazy, crazy pain in my neck, and I'm pretty sure I did something to it moving my coffee table, which granted, Francis and I do have a pretty heavy coffee table, but you know where you are old when you throw out your neck moving your coffee table. But anyways, I've had a horrible neck pain for the past week. The flu that I thought it was ended up being COVID, sadly, so I've been dealing with that as well as the neck pain for the past week, and it has definitely put a little bit of a push on the schedule. I was hoping to be able to get a few different videos filmed this week, a few different sponsored ones, a few other different videos, including this one, but sadly it has been pushed off until now when I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I still do have a little bit of like a cough, and also my nose is stuffed, but we're feeling okay. I didn't put any makeup on, but I did try to do my hair. Anyways, without further ado, I'm going to quickly get into all of the games that I played solo in the month of October. If you guys want to see that, then just keep on watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy. Also hit the subscribe button down below if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. And yeah, this video might be a little bit quicker. I might not do any B-roll. We will see. I might already have B-roll for some of these games, but not all of them. I've talked about a few of them in some videos, but I'm gonna try to get some B-roll, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get B-roll for all of them, just cause, y'all, it's been a week. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into all the games that I played solo in the month of October, shall we? All right, so we're gonna keep this video very quick and casual. The first game that I'm going to talk about, which I will say, actually, before I get into all these games, let's get into the solo monthly focus games. So, if you guys do not know, every month over on my Patreon, I do a poll of solo games that people want to focus on in the next month. So at the end of September, we did a poll for October, and at the end of October, we did a poll for November, and whatever game wins is basically a game that we all, as the solo community within the Board Game Garden community, is just a game that we all focus on for that month. And I feel like this is a really great way to kind of get more plays out of all of the solo games that you have in your collection. They don't necessarily need to be just solo games, but some of them are. In this situation here, all of them are actually. But yes, it's just a nice way to be able to focus on just a single game for the month. It doesn't have to be the only game that you play in that month, but it's just, you know, in your mind being, you know, focusing on that game a little bit more than you typically would. So in the month of October, our sewing solo game was one of the more popular creepy October solo games, but that is Final Girl. So I did play Final Girl quite a bit on, or in October. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry if this video is going to be crazy, but I feel like I don't really want to do a lot of editing, so hopefully my mistakes will not be too prevalent. Is that the right word? I don't know. Anyways, I got sick brain too. I played a lot of Final Girl in the month of October. I think I played, how many games of Final Girl did I play? Probably around 5 or 6 maybe. I played a heck of a lot of the Poltergeist, which I have still yet to actually beat. The Poltergeist is very difficult, and I feel like it relies a lot on luck because you are not trying to defeat the Poltergeist. The Poltergeist cannot even be hit, but you are solely trying to find, oh, what's the little girl's name? Carolyn? I think it's Carolyn. I think. but you're trying to find the little girl in a deck of cards. So sometimes you find her earlier than other times, and yes, it's very, very hit and miss, but I really enjoy it. I love the theme of this one. I also have these two here that I have yet to actually dive into, but I have the Evomorph, which is like an alien, and then this one here, which is the Intruders, I believe. So I have those two to dive into. I also just got a Final Girl playmat as well, and some like additional like props and stuff. Huge shout out, Noah. I don't know if you're watching this right now, but thank you so much for sending those over. I really appreciate it. We have added a little bit to the Final Girl collection, and I'm excited to hop into those. So I played a ton of Final Girl in the month of October, and then moving into what the solo focus is for November. So this was actually a funny situation that has not happened yet, and I'm quite surprised it hasn't happened yet. But basically in the poll over on my Patreon, which I will have my Patreon link down below if you guys want to go and check that out, I upload some vlogs over there every once in a while of just behind the scenes of me having some board game days and stuff like that. I also do want to start doing more of those and just bring you guys along as I have my board game days here and there and kind of compiling them into like weekly or monthly vlogs. Funny thing is that the poll, there's never been a tie between more than one game. There's always been one game that has beat out every other game. And this month there was actually a three-way tie between three different games. The first one was Flamecraft. The second one was For Northwood, which is like a small little solo trick-taking game. And then the third one was Coffee Roaster. So what I've decided is those are going to be the three games for the month. I am actually choosing to not focus on Flamecraft for this month. I feel like November has already been crazy. I have a ton of other things planned in November, and it's going to be a very busy month. I'm also planning for PAX at the beginning of December, so that's going to be busy too. So I'm trying to pack a lot of stuff into November. So what I decided to do is I might push Flamecraft on till next month maybe, and do Flamecraft as the December solo focus. You are welcome to, if you are taking part, to focus on Flamecraft if you'd like. But these are the other two that I'm going to be focusing on just because they are a little bit easier to get to the table. So For Northwood is the one that I have been really focusing on. I've been really enjoying this one. But that is going to be my focus for November. And then I'm also going to be playing Coffee Roaster a little bit as well. But those are the three that you can kind of choose between, whatever one that you want to focus on for the month of November. There's also a channel over on the Board Game Garden Discord that you can go and check out, and everyone is chatting in there about their games and just kind of connecting over those games that we're all focusing on for the month of November. So yes, those are the solo focuses there. And without further ado, let's quickly get into all of the other games. I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more games over here that I played solo in the month of October. So let's get into it. So starting from smallest and going to largest, the first one is a game from All Play, which this was sent over to me by All Play, so a huge thank you to them for that. But this is Mind Space, and this was actually a part of a more recent Kickstarter that was fulfilled from All Play, and they had 4 different games. There was Chomp, Mindspace, Couture, as well as Sail. And this one is, I think Chomp can also be played solo, and I've played that one solo before as well, and it's very fun. But this one actually surprised me quite a bit. This was the other one in those 4 that I was really, really excited about because it is a roll and write. But this one's very interesting, where it is basically a roll, and then whatever numbers you roll actually match up with the certain polyomino shapes, and then you are choosing one of those numbers, and then you're going to be writing that polyomino shape with that specific color of that die into your brain. So this is Mind Space, so it's all about filling in this brain with different colors that kind of represent different things, relationships and hobbies and different things like that. I think there's a bunch of specific things that they represent, but I really enjoy this one. It is easy to learn, easy to play, super easy to play solo, and I think I mentioned this one in a like small box coffee table games that I've been enjoying, and this was one of them because it is so easy to just set up and play solo, and I love it. If you're a fan of polyomino games, if you're a fan of, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. Not as much going on, but it has that same kind of feeling of choosing a card and then putting that shape into the brain and trying to fill in the brain as best you can, and each of the different colors are going to be scoring you in different ways. I really, really enjoyed it. So that is the first one. That is Mind Space. I'm already dying, guys. I got this. Next one is a game from, what is this, Thunder Griffin Games? Thundergriff Games. This one was actually sent over to me by a Board Game Garden community member, so huge thank you to you. I believe it was Michael, but Michael, thank you so much. This one here is Spirits of the Forest. It is another one that is super easy to get to the table. I think this was another one that I chatted about in my coffee table games because it's a small box game and it's this lovely puzzle of simply just trying to get more than the AI. So whenever you're taking, basically there's this big grid of a bunch of different tiles that are all different spirits. I think there are like 9 different spirits that you can collect, and you are basically trying to get majority of all 9 of those spirits. So if the AI ends up getting more of any one of those spirits than you actually lose. So it's a pretty difficult solo game, but I love the puzzle of trying to do that and trying to think out, like, if I take this one, the AI gets the one directly across from it. So if I take this one, the AI will get this one, and that means that they're gonna have more of this certain spirit than I do. So maybe I should take this one because they'll get that one and that one's fine. So it's this very fun puzzle. I absolutely love it. I haven't played this multiplayer yet. From what I see, it plays a little bit differently multiplayer, where you actually can like reserve different things with your crystals, which you don't have the power to do so in the solo game. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I love the art of this one too, and this one will definitely be one that I choose to bring like traveling and stuff in the future. I really, really like it. So that is Spirits of the Forest. Moving into another one that I chatted about in that coffee table game video. This is probably the funniest art that I've ever seen in a game, but actually, it's very creepy as well, but I love this game so much. I have played this a few times in October, and I think I've also played it once in November as well, but that is Mr.Cabbageheads Garden. This is one that I picked up when I went to Indianapolis for Gen Con, and I picked this up at a board game store just randomly because I heard that it was really, really good solo. I think it can be played 1 to 2 players. But I've only played it solo, and I solely bought it for solo play. But with this one, you are basically building this tableau of veggies, and you're going to be scoring for those veggies at the end of the game. I think there's like a bunch of different things that you can choose to score in, whatever you want at the beginning of that game, and you can kind of change it up from game to game. But you're also having to deal with your neighbors every once in a while, taking vegetables, different things like that. And I just really enjoyed this one. I'm a huge fan of tableau building, which actually reminds me, I really want to make a video on like my top 10 tableau building games. But yes, Mr. Cabbageheads Garden did not disappoint. I've been looking forward to this one for a very long time, and I'm so, so happy that I have it in the collection. That's Mr. Cabbageheads Garden. I'm starting to sound real funny. This video is just gonna be like a downhill of Jenna's voice. Just gonna sound more and more like a man. Moving on to the next one. I think this one might be the one that I've played most this month or in October. I played this one so many times. It stayed on my coffee table for all of October, and I just took it out time and time again and just played this game while I was watching like TV, and that is My City Roll and Build. Oh my goodness, I love this game. And it makes me so excited. I do have my city and my island up here that I think I'm just gonna hop into solo. It doesn't actually say on either of those boxes if you can play them solo, but I think I'm just gonna hop into them solo. I don't see why they can't be played solo. And I think they just pair well as a solo game. I just spit. I don't know if you guys saw that, but this video unhinged. Anyways, yes, My City Roll and Build, I have enjoyed very, very much this month. It is such a simple game where basically you have some sort of map. There's going to be a bunch of different ones as you go throughout. It's a little bit of a campaign where you're going throughout episodes and chapters. I think I'm about halfway through it by now. But yes, I absolutely love it. And it kind of like introduces more rules as you go throughout the episodes. So I don't think I've actually like gotten to everything yet. So you are basically just rolling 3 die, and then 2 of them are going to create some sort of polyomino shape. Very much like Mindspace, you are just rolling dice and then putting some sort of polyomino shape into a grid, which I just love so, so much. I need to play the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw again because I love that game. It's just reminding me of all these polyomino games that I want to play. But yes, there's also another die that tells you the kind of like shading type that you have to do. So there's like solid, there's X's, and then there's also stripes. So there's 3 different like types of buildings that you're going to be putting into the grid or the city. Basically each of the polyomino shapes is like a building. And then you score in different ways. You're gonna have like a well that you have to surround and like churches and a bunch of different things. But yes, this is definitely one that I've played probably the most in October, and I look forward to playing more in November and December, and until I finish the episode or the campaign, and then I will probably play it again. So that is My City Roll and Build. All right, moving on to the next game. This is a spooky game that I did play on live stream, and I enjoyed this one very, very much. I actually backed this one on GameFound myself, and I'm so, so happy I did. This is Witchcraft, which if you guys have seen the game Resist before, it is kind of a re-implementation of that game. It plays pretty similarly, but has some differences to it. And I really, really like the differences that it does have. And that is with the persuasion of the like townsfolk. You're gonna have 3 different townsfolk that you're trying to get to a certain number, and that's you kind of talking them into the fact that you as witches are not bad and you're trying to help instead of hurt the town or the village. So this is one that I've been looking forward to very, very much, and I'm happy that I ended up getting it in October. Basically, on your turn, you're going to be having a hand of 5 different cards. Some of those cards are going to be your witches, and then some of them are going to be curses, which are kind of just like dead cards that are not good for you because you have less witches to do things with for that turn. But with all the witches that you do get, each of the witches have a revealed action, and then all of the witches have a hidden action. So you can use their hidden action, which is not as strong, but you actually get them into your discard pile. But if you use them for their revealed actions, they are stronger and help you more. But unfortunately, that means that you kind of used your magic in front of people and they kind of sent you to jail, so you do not get those witches back. So it's this very cool balance between you know, using them for their revealed but then never being able to use them again, or using them for their hidden and then being able to kind of cycle them back in later in the game. So really like that. And you are trying to defeat a bunch of different monsters or different things at different locations, and then you're trying to defeat that location as well in order to gain those persuasion of the different townsfolk that you've chosen. You're going to be choosing 3 for the game, and then I think like based off of the people that you choose, it actually changes the different locations that you have, and it changes some of the like monsters and stuff that are going to be at each of those locations based off of the 3 townsfolk that you choose. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of replayability with this one. I've only played it the once. Sadly, I didn't have a chance to play it again, but I do want to play it again, and I'm very, very excited. I do prefer this theme over Resist, so that's like a big thumbs up for me. I absolutely love witchy themed games, which, exciting news everyone, I got an email that Septima has shipped. So Septima will be at my house in a few days, and I cannot tell you guys how excited I am to play Septima, so get ready for that. But anyways, Witchcraft was kind of getting me ready for Septima, and it is such a fantastic game on its own, so I'm so happy that I did back it, and I'm excited to play it more. So that is Witchcraft. All right, so we have 4 more games to go, and I'm sounding more and more like a man each game I go through, but the next one is Junk Drawer. So Junk Drawer is a game that was sent to me by 25th Century Games, so huge thank you to them. And this one again was one of those coffee table games. It's not necessarily as small as all the other like coffee table games that I talked about in that video, which I'm talking about that video quite a bit. So I will link it up here if you guys want to go and check it out. I think it was like a few videos ago where I counted, or I like talked about 10 different coffee table cozy games that I've been enjoying. But this was one of them because it is so easy to learn. It is so easy to get to the table. You are simply just putting different, again, polyomino. I feel like I played a lot of polyomino games in October. But you're putting different polyomino shapes into the different sections of your junk drawer, and you're trying to organize them as well as possible. And each of the different like 4 sections of the junk drawer has a different way of scoring, and each round you're going to have 4 cards, and each of those cards is going to have a different polyomino shape on them. You're going to flip over one, take that piece from your pile. If you play this multiplayer, everyone has the same pieces and everyone will see that card be flipped. Take that specific polyomino piece and then decide which one of the 4 little sections of your drawer you're going to place that piece in, and then for the other 3 that you're going to flip over, you can't place it in the one that you've already placed a piece. So you're kind of putting them in those 4 different for each round, and then at the end of the game, once someone, or if you're playing it solo, once you can't fit any more into a space, then you score for those 4 different things. And it is just such a satisfying game. If you're someone like me where I absolutely love to organize drawers, I love to declutter my home and all those things, this is a very fun one. Immediately when I saw like the theme of this with like organizing your drawer, there's actually this game on the Switch called A Little to the Left, I think, and I'm considering buying that on the Switch very soon because I enjoyed this so much and I want more of those like satisfying puzzles. There's also another game that I have. I think it's called Unboxing, possibly, or something like that, where you're basically unboxing like different rooms and like organizing things in different rooms. It's just so satisfying, and that's exactly what this game gives. Just like satisfying polyomino puzzle. I absolutely love it. So that is Junk Drawer. If you're a solo gamer, I definitely recommend. If you're just looking for one that's just easy to get to the table, very fun polyomino game, that is your game to pick up. All right, so moving into the last 3 games. These ones are a little bit larger and a little bit bigger games, but the first one is one that I did a sponsored playthrough for, sponsored live stream playthrough for. You guys can go check that out. It is up on the channel here. But this is the Old King's Crown, which I do believe when this video goes up, hopefully this will still be up on Kickstarter. I definitely recommend you go and check it out. It is pretty much a trick-taking game, but with more. It's like an asymmetric trick-taking battle game. And in the solo mode of the Old King's Crown, basically you are trying to get to 20 influence before the AI gets to 20 influence. And you do this by pretty much just winning different regions by playing these clashes, or they're kind of tricks in a way because you're going to be putting a card face down at these 3 different regions, and then you're going to flip over those cards. The cards are going to have different abilities that they can do. You can actually do things that kind of add to your strength at that spot, but basically whoever has the highest card or the highest strength is going to be the winner of that region. And then each region is going to have 2 different locations, and each location is going to have some sort of reward, and those location rewards are going to give you more influence. They're going to allow you to do different things. This is at its core a little bit of a trick-taking game, but that is not all it is. There is asymmetric abilities with the 4 different factions. There are a bunch of different things that you can kind of go for in order to gain that influence and in the end win the game. So I really enjoyed this one. I do want to play this more solo. I also want to play it more multiplayer. It's such an interesting game, and it really does some different things that I haven't seen in a game before with that soul like heart mechanic of the trick taking, which you guys know I love trick taking. So I really enjoyed this one. The art is absolutely beautiful. And like I said, if it is still on Kickstarter, I will have the link to it down below if you guys want to go check it out. But that is The Old King's Crown. Moving into the next game. This was sent over to me by Pandasaurus Games. So a huge thank you to them for sending this over for review. But that is the Fox Experiment, guys. I love this game. It is so good. And I did not realize when I actually got this game, this is actually primarily a little bit of a roll and write, but again, it's that like kind of core mechanic of roll and write with a bunch of other things kind of on top of it. So it feels like a roll and write, but at the same time, it feels a little bit like a Euro game in a way. And in the solo game, you are actually going against an AI, obviously, but in a multiplayer game, you are actually creating, you're doing this in both the solo and the multiplayer, but I feel like it'll be really cool to see this in a multiplayer game because all of the players are going to be, you know, creating, basically in this game, you are like getting the parents and you're going to be creating offspring with the baby foxes, and the babies that the players create for one round actually become the parents that the players are going to draft in the next round, and players can actually draft from all of the different babies that any of the players had gotten from that previous round. So I think it's very cool that you can like kind of take something that someone worked on in the past round, which I've never seen in a game before. But yes, it's very satisfying with the dice rolling. Basically, the parents that you draft actually give you the dice that you're going to be able to roll for that round, and then the dice are going to either have like full genes or full genetics or half, and then you're kind of like putting the dice and connecting the dice together to create full ones, and it's just very fun. I absolutely loved it. And I think the dice rolling with the trying to create as many of those different genetic things, I actually don't know what the technical term is for it, but just rolling those dice, and then like as you go throughout the game, the parents actually get like better and better because you are using the babies from the past rounds. So each of the different generations, I guess, get stronger and stronger. So you get more and more dice as the game goes on, and you're just rolling all those dice and then trying to piece them all together to have that baby have the best genes that it can possibly have. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and especially the fact that you can name the babies too, it just makes me very happy. But the gameplay as well is very, very fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I want to play it again, and I also want to play it multiplayer. So that is the Fox Experiment. All right, so moving into the last game, and this one is actually the biggest one, and it's also the one that I played earliest in the month. So I am not gonna 100% remember how it plays, but I do know that I really enjoyed this game, and I also live streamed this one, so I will put this one up here. If I ever live stream games, whenever I talk about them, I will put the stream up here if you guys want to go and watch it. But that game is Now or Never. This is one that I've been wanting to play for so long. I actually purchased this at a bring and buy at a local convention. And I'm so happy that I did because I absolutely love the solo. I've heard a ton of good things about the solo from a few of the people in the Board Game Garden solo community, and a huge shout out, I think it was Stacy, Stacy Everdell, shout out to you. I remember you always telling me to play this solo because you loved it, and I'm so happy I did because I love this game and I have been wanting to get it back to the table for a very, very long time, but it is a very large game. Like I said, I did play this one pretty early on in October, so I don't remember exactly how it plays, but I do remember it being quite a big like engine building. You did like add different buildings, and you're pretty much trying to like build up your engine the entire game, and it's very important to build up your engine. I do remember on the stream, Stacy was actually in the chat and she kept on reminding me to like, build your engine, Jenna, like you gotta get that engine going, which I love engine building games. So it was very fun, and you're basically moving around this map and you're defeating monsters, you are buying those buildings and adding them to your village. You're basically trying to build up your village. Again, your like ancestral village, I think it says. Compete to rebuild your ancestral village and guide the rest of the villagers on their journey home. You can choose from a few different characters, and those characters are going to have their own like special abilities and own special like attacks and stuff they're going to be doing on the monsters, and different things that you can do throughout the game. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Again, I really want to get it back to the table because I do think I'll probably have to kind of like relearn it. That's the only thing about like getting a lot of new games to the table is I often find myself getting a game to the table that's bigger like this solo, that does take a little bit more to like learn it, and then not getting it to the table again solo for a few months, and then kind of having to, or it's a little bit more difficult to get to the table again because it has that learning curve, so it's a little bit more difficult to like learn the rules again and stuff like that. So this is one that I do really want to get back to the table. So maybe I'll kind of keep this one out and in front of me so I remember to quickly learn it again and then play it again because I really enjoyed it solo. So that is Now or Never. This is in the trilogy of Above and Below, Near and Far, as well as Now or Never, which I'm pretty sure this is the only one of the three that has an actual solo mode. And this one actually has two different modes that you can play it, which is the standard mode as well as the story mode, which there are like 6 different books in here that you can go through. So maybe with the solo, I will go through all of the different story modes in there and do that. But I do think Above and Below and Near and Far have solo modes, but they're like fan-made solo modes. So I'd love to eventually get into those as well. But first off, I want to get this one back to the table because I freaking loved it. That is Now or Never. All right, friends, so that's going to be everything for today's sewing solo. I'm going to finish this up before I lose my voice anymore. But thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed, please give it a big thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button down below if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. Comment down below all of the solo games that you played in October. I would love to know. There were a ton more solo spooky games that I wanted to get to the table, but sadly I was not able to do that. October ended up being a more busy month than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I feel like that's every month. It ends up being more busy than I think it's going to be. But I still got a really good amount of solo games played this month, so I'm really happy with that. And I would love to know what you guys got to the table solo in October. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Remember, you're somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Walter! Come on! Bro, I was literally almost finished. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye, friends.